Okay, this is the last presentation of the afternoon and of the day. So we are very happy to welcome a type designer. His name is Matthieu Cortat, and he happens to be the head of Master Type Design at Ecole. And he's going to make a presentation about research in many ways, what he's been doing at the moment at the school. Okay? Good.
Okay, thank you. First, thank you for the invitation. Thank you for ATypI, Sébastien, to Barbara. I'm happy to be there introducing ECAL, Ecole Cantonale d'Art de Lausanne, University of Art and Design in Switzerland. And I will briefly introduce how research is organized at ECAL and more generally in Switzerland. I will show you a few examples related to type design or not. Some are not strictly related to type design. So first, to introduce the school, a little video, but probably some of you already saw it at another occasion, but still it's good too for a starter. Okay, the party at the end was a bit too much, but so actually it was a party in Arles from the Master Photography. Yeah, I have some propaganda material if you want. So ECAL has been founded in 1821, it's soon celebrating the 200 years anniversary. It comes from a Beaux-Arts model and continues to work on from the Swiss heritage, merging art, design and industry. You've seen quite a lot of practical workshop in the school. Here it's a picture of the building, which was formerly the Ecole factory. They were producing nylon stockings in the 60s and 70s. Now they are operating in Poland. And the building has been reconstructed by Bernard Tschumi 10 years ago. So it's not a university, it's a school of design. We have very few seminars and classes, but it's mostly based on a workshop system that you put your hand in the dirt, and you do. So very few lectures, the cours magistraux in French, but assignments on practical projects at the beginning of semester, evaluations at the end, and in between, many individual meetings. Here, this is a workshop with a studio norm, very nice project. So the pedagogy always try to keep feet on the ground. And this down-to-earth approach cares a lot with the final product. I mean, okay, there are concept and process, but then you have to produce something which is good. However good is the process, most of the people who will look at your output will only see the output. So ECAL gives a focus on crafting products. Here, for instance, this diploma project of Krahe Lehmann. It's a 2,7 magazine. It's a real magazine. It was not a school project. It printed, I don't know, a few hundred copies. And for the magazine, he designed the font, a custom font for the magazine, which is super slanted and relates to musical rhythm because it's a magazine about music. So materiality of design, as you can see in this picture of our material library, where students can look how different kind of plastics look like, is important at ECAL. I think is in a way important in type design. letters are things, not that stuff. So we apply same principle to type design and research. We try to never disconnect typography from graphic design. For instance, what would be the best specimen to display a font? For an example with a pizzeria board for this Spantex. We try not to make systems, but custom-made objects for each type design project. Yeah, specimens matters. Those have been done during a workshop with Mitch Paoni, and students are asked to work on the specimen, not from the beginning, but almost from the beginning of the type design process. In which context are you going to use it? What the purpose of the font? Really applied. Here, this example, like for instance, this was a diploma project of Benedetto Kac. He did his thesis on Hungarian miniature books. He started collecting miniature books, which is a very practical collection. You can have a full library in a very tiny box. And he also built a traveling exhibition, which has not yet traveled, but will soon. Apparently Hungary was in the third quarter of the 20th century. There was a huge production of miniature books for different reasons, mainly for printers to show how good they were at printing small and binding. Also because they were running a bit out of paper. So it's also practical. And for that exhibition, he designed a typeface specifically for the exhibition. But then later on, this typeface, the one on the first line, called Minuscule, he worked on it, and now it's available on the ECAL typefaces, the school type foundry, which provide a few, not a lot, not enough, typefaces, super cheap, but well made. This other project, a semester project by Mahani Putri, she looked for the best typographic forms for industrial embroidery, to make industrially embroidered letter forms. Some kind of serif are better fitted than others. What is important in the curriculum of type design at ECAL is you don't necessarily have to produce a font with OTF or a typeface for your diploma. This was a diploma project of last year. We can call this type design or not. Maybe sometimes you see some sculpture, 3D lettering that looks like type, but not sure, and then it moves, etc. What's interesting is that Elliot, since then, is applying what he found, like in abstract here, to I think nowadays is mostly working for rappers to do their album covers. So how this approach of doing letter forms reflects in research. Let's have a look. So here you see the different programs that you can find at ECAL, apart from foundation year. There is no PhD. We cannot give PhDs to people. Nevertheless, all staff members could apply, are allowed to apply for a research project. You mentioned, Jerry, this morning the fact that in many programs today, you need a PhD to teach. Happily for us, it's not yet the case. It happened, for instance, there was a big discussion in master photography about this, because there was one of the teachers teaching just for one semester, I think, which was Walter Pfeiffer, like clearly the most experienced of them all, the most valuable teacher in the class, and he did not finish high school. But then he has 40 years of experience in the field. That counts. So currently in Switzerland, the professional experience is given value as academic degrees. So all the research projects I will show you, there are some people doing PhDs involved, but generally if there is a PhD, it's not by ECAL, it's an association with another university, another school. Actually, it should not be there today. Originally, it's him, Davide Fornari, associate professor who is in charge of research at ECAL, who is supposed to give the presentation, and me on the side to make the jokes. But he cannot come, so I hope I will be able to answer your questions. In case I can't, don't hesitate to contact him directly. So, since 1997, Swiss universities of art and design have to undertake research and development activities. From the last 10 years, research activities at ECAL have led to about 35 projects, some directly related to typography and type design, others not. Most of the time, it's a successful diploma master project in diploma, which is pushed further into a research project. They have all those research projects have been collected in this book, if you want to have a look. I brought a few others. Quite recently, last November, there was this conference at ECAL about technology and research, or mainly research in technology, and how it is approached in the school. And yeah, and past research project which might be of interest for some of you here. We have recently this research project about Herman Eidenbenz and how to teach graphic design. This about the Bobst packaging company in Lausanne who started making typefaces in the 70s. And the well-known, I will leave this one for the library or for Barbara. It's out of print, very precious. 30 years of Swiss typographic discourse in the Typographische Monatsblätter, research project by Louise Paradis and Roland Frü. So don't hesitate to have a look. And oh yeah, of course, some other informations are available online if you want to know more. So there are 3 types of research at ECAL: fundamental based research, applied research, and research through design. ECAL is a design school, not a university, as already said. We are part of HESSO, Haute École highly specialized school of Western Switzerland, which includes law schools, schools of hospitality and management, engineering, architecture, social work, music, like such domains as far away from type design as an MA in nutrition and dietetics. So we have to find with all those different institutions a common way of doing research, which is not easy. So let's look at the first kind of research, fundamental base. Research projects similar to those practiced in social science. As mentioned this morning, for instance, I think I can put the project on Armenian script by Elena Papasisa in that category. It's, let's say, traditional research producing mainly text and studies, and the format is more or less academic, that people from other fields of research can can see what's going on. It's similarities. Generally, typically, this is financed by the Swiss, the Fonds National, the Swiss National Science Foundation. Here you can see the website with a question that many of us, probably many of you, are how to do research and parenting at the same time. And luckily for us, Switzerland finances research in general up to 5% of the gross domestic product, which is very good. I checked this morning. According to World Bank, it's the third country in the world doing this. First is Israel, and then South Korea, and then Switzerland. But still, they needed to put design as a research field, which was not granted. Here, an exact example to which ECAL participated. This project, Swiss Graphic Design and Typography Revisited. You have the website address there. So what happened when you ask Google about Swiss style? You get this. So graphic design is recognized internationally as one of the finest cultural expressions of Switzerland. It reached such a level of renown that the Federal Office for Culture has proposed Swiss graphic design and typography as one of the 8 candidates to the UNESCO as intangible cultural heritage. Not been elected yet. Thus, the topic has been discussed extensively in Switzerland, but historiography of Swiss graphic design has focused mainly on the German-speaking area, on the figures of pioneers, and on studies whose authors are also often discussing about their own works. There is not that much a distance with the topic. And on a specific chronological period which coincides with the emergence and success of the so-called Swiss style. This project wanted to shed light on a variety of historical issues in Swiss graphic design that were often neglected by the abundant literature on the topic. So it was quite a big project. It took 3 years, started in 2016, and it is the biggest research collaboration in the design field ever funded by the Swiss National Science Foundation. Oh yeah, you cannot read the name of the people. There were 3 sub-projects in which mixed groups of 6 doctoral students and 7 researchers from 7 institutions and investigate into different aspects of Swiss graphic design, its teaching, its networks, and its form of publication. Here you can see the list of participating universities. So the project aims to develop archive, analyze textual, pictorial, and design sources such as curricula, publications, self-testimonies, and to interview important actors, thus identifying influential networks, practices, and media, based on current historical and cultural theory approaches. Here you can see the names better. Here's a list of researchers who worked on it. The aim was to make a critical contribution to the development and current self-image of Swiss graphic design and typography. And what's maybe interesting for us today, in addition, the project contributes to the establishment of design history as a research and practice field in Switzerland. That, okay, design history exists. So, you can see here an image from the kickoff day at Hochschule der Künste in Bern, during which the 3 sub-projects emerged. Sub-project 1, Principle of Education, which was addressing the so-perceived bias on typography and type design of the group's case studies. Project B was about networks and of practice. It pointed out the irony and possible challenges of being a group of 4 different nationalities, Swiss, Swiss-American, French, and Italian, living in 4 different cities, Zurich, Geneva, Lausanne, and London, researching on networks beyond national and linguistic boundaries. And C, strategies of dissemination, question the very idea of Swissness and national design. Big question. In order to compensate for the lack of expertise in specific fields, an international panel of experts was set up in addition to research groups, which meet once a year in Switzerland for a public symposium to discuss results and discuss further proceedings. There was a book produced. Unfortunately, I don't have it here today. I had only my wasted copy. I really like the title of the book, but there is also a website, and that book is available at the publisher Trieste Verlag. Another project in that category, which it's a project which is currently going on, so I won't go too far in it. It's another history-related project about this book, which you might know, I hope, the New Typography. And at the end of that book, there is a bibliography. Jan Tschichold made a bibliography of good examples of modern design. And there have been reprints of that book, translation, and if you really look at the bibliography, it's full of mistakes, wrong dates, wrong places, wrong publisher. That means that people were reprinting it without checking. So the project is we are buying all the items in the list, and you are rebuilding the library of Jan Tschichold when he did that book. The idea is to shed a new light on this text, which is often taken for granted and rarely questioned. The bibliographical and visual sources are amongst the understudied aspects of the new typography that await close scrutiny. Alongside the rebuilding of this library, done by Chiara Barbieri with Roland Freux, Davide Tomatis, graduate from Master Type Design, is making a revival of the font used to publish that book, the Aurora Grotesque. It's based on 3 archives, the Vadiana Cantonale Library of St. Gallen, the Deutsche National Bibliothek in Leipzig, and Jan and Edith Tschichold's paper at Getty Research Institute in Los Angeles. More to come in the upcoming month. So, second category of research at ECAL, applied. It's not historical, it's way less academic, and the idea is to produce practical outcome. A famous one is this one, maybe you've seen it already. It's called Chain Graphic Workflow, done by Maximage, David Kesavje, Guy Meldem, and Julien Tavelli, in collaboration with Tatiana Rees. It's all about printing process. First, they focused on rasters with the publication of a really useful raster guide for graphic designers and printer, which provides images, an example of different rasters you can try. Another step in the project focused on color. The starting point was that we generally use today very poor cyan, magenta, yellow, black color to print anything. If you compare this with chromolithography in the 19th century, where there were many more color and many more other combinations. So they tried to rediscover that. And the project led to a digital platform providing a large variety of color combinations, from basic to metallics, neon, pastels. With Color Library, your images can easily be printed in offset, flexography, silkscreen, risograph, or any other printing technology that uses spot colors. So there's this website, which is creating a database of profile to make a profile for your machines, for artists, designers, photographers, and printers. You can try, put an image, drop an image, and you will see how it looks if you print it instead of CMYB, you can say, okay, yellow, neon blue, and metallic green. And here it's what you got. A third category, finally, is, the second one, the applied research, is generally financed by third parties, agencies, foundations, or private companies. This third category, recherche-création, is maybe what we saw earlier today of Patrick could fit in that, is when design feeds research and research feeds design. And this is financed by departmental funding. The department, who is the institution of ECAL, has budget for funding that kind of research. A recent example is augmented photography, led by Milo Keller, Joël Vacheron, and Maxime Guillon. The idea is today photographers, they don't have to make pictures. I mean, there are a lot of tools, digital tools, which allow them to just build images from existing data, online data of images, to create their own images. So none of those things exist in real life. So automation, which is, there is augmented photography, and now there is a new step which will be automated photography, can be seen as a threatening disruptor that will kill the art. The computer stealing my job. But then the projects prefer to consider them as tool or instrument that photographers can learn how to use and how to work with instead of just trying to hide from them. So the second step of this project is the ongoing automated photography. You can see a picture here, or also, yeah, there is no sound in this one. As you have seen, so research at ECAL is pointing both in historical matter sometimes and questioning the production of the past, but also the future of design discipline. You mentioned this morning, Jerry, the transfer of knowledge. In the case of augmented photography, it involves symposium, mostly for academics, but also exhibitions and workshops with students. Actually, the Master in Photography is the research project. If you enroll in Master of Photography, you enroll in the research project. All classes are focusing on that, which I guess cannot be certain of that, but it facilitated the founding of the project. So automation is just a teasing, because we just started this a month ago in collaboration with EPFL, Ecole Polytechnique Fédérale, the Laboratory for Computer Vision. This is the diploma project of Xu Huixue, a Chinese graduate from Master Type Design, and she is paired with a postdoc, Wei Wang, who unfortunately went back home in Wuhan. So who knows how it will go. No, actually he's back in Lausanne, but locked in his apartment and not allowed to leave. They started a research project. The idea is to create a tool, a software, we don't know yet, using artificial intelligence and deep learning to help producing the thousands of characters needed by Chinese script. Ultimately, here you see, on the left you have the first draft, on the right the target, and the 4 columns in the machine, generations of the machine learning how to achieve what you have on the right when you feed it with what you have on the left. So ultimately the idea is to have a type designer making 12 glyphs. You give it to the machine, which generates 50. You make corrections of design, of style on the 50, and the machine generates 6,763, which is the basic standard, like the alphabet for Chinese script. So this project, followed by teacher Kai Bernau, is named ATypI, which is apparently in Chinese can mean both artificial intelligence generating characters as well as love of typography. But yeah, it just started. I hope I'll have a chance of telling you more about it in other presentation in the future this year. In the future. Thank you very much. Oh, I cannot. Where is it? I can't leave it.
Thank you, Matthieu. I was just wondering if you could tell us who supervises the research and whether does it get evaluated by someone within the school or outside of the school?
Yes, it's not. We do not get the funding that easily. There is someone who is, I don't know how to say in English, the porteur du projet.
The project investigator.
Yeah, the coordinator of the project, who is a ECAL staff member, and then hiring researcher on the project, and who can come from many directions, and then generally I've only coordinated once the IT we just started, which is financed internally within the HES system. In that kind of project, we have to make a file explaining everything, methodology, timeline, budget, everything, and that it's evaluated within the department by teachers from other art schools of Switzerland, and also people who might come from law school, nursing school, that kind of thing. And also we have to give a list of experts that we recommend to consult. They have their own list of people, of experts they would consult. And we also have to give a list of experts we don't recommend to consult. For instance, someone who is doing something similar and who might just like kick us down just because we are going on the same direction, is threatening his own project. So generally we have to provide a list, and the panel of experts, they pick 2 or 3 in that list, 2 or 3 in their own list. And
that's for deciding whether you get funding or not. And then once the project is done, the same people evaluate the work that has been done, or not necessarily?
That I don't know, because I've just started it. But no, yeah, there is a evaluation, yes, at the end. Yeah, we promised some kind of output. We put a little, how do you say, conditionnel when we don't know. For instance, for these ATypI, we said we wish to end with a software, but yeah, who knows where it goes when you start something like this. So happily there will be a software, but maybe not.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You showed us the structure of the diplomas. It goes from bachelor to master's.
Yeah.
And because of the research dimension, I was wondering, how do you accompany potential research further on? Do you have a postgraduate space, or do you have...
we don't provide any office for them to work in.
After?
No. If there is a research project, most of the researchers are working from home at part-time project.
After their master?
Yeah, after when they graduate. Yeah. It's after the master is quite intense, and after graduating, then we can start maybe a research project.
But from home?
Yeah, we don't.
But it means that they don't have
a
space to gather and to exchange or to build prototype.
Yeah, they are welcome in the building.
Okay.
Or they can join some class, but there is no proper space fully dedicated to that.
Yeah. Or is there any proper supervision further on after the master from supervisors like you?
Yeah, it's included when you are. Making the file and being a coordinator of the project, you supervise the development of it.
Outside of the
teaching time.
But is it included into your, how I say, duties as educators to make space for following such complex research?
I don't know if it's included in our duties, but we take it as a duty. We are not forced to do it, but generally every research project is done because we think it's interesting and we're motivated to do it, so we invest ourselves in it. There is no, there might be probably some regulation, but we are not forced to do research projects. But yeah, we try to accommodate the space situation and helping the researcher at best.
Are any of these projects or research projects are made in cooperation with some private companies? Like, are these research funded by them in terms of money and cooperation and probably expected outputs that can be commercialized?
Actually, not as far as I know. I mean, I'd say not. The Ecole project not. Some are, yes, but I don't know exactly. For that, you should ask Davide. really. Sorry, I cannot answer that one. I know this is possible, and this happened, but I cannot say for which project exactly and how this is managed.
Okay, thank you.
But it was, for instance, for ATypI, it was question at the beginning, which finally we didn't, but if we should, as it is touching Chinese type design, if we should get in touch with the Chinese type foundries to co-finance or share material at some point, which was, I mean, it's open for discussion at least. Finally, we did not do it, but it's possible.
Hello, my name is Petra. I'm coming from Academy of Fine Arts and Design from Ljubljana. I wondered, the structure of the school you showed is very similar to our academy, and I just wondered, is it very difficult to make projects which are run at different departments? For example, connecting fine arts and visual communication, or film studies and industrial design. Does this kind of research project happen often, or not at all, or what are obstacles?
It's difficult. I mean, just in the everyday life of departments, everyone goes their own way, and we try to connect. But it's mainly in the case of ECAL, I think it's mainly a matter of person. You know someone, and you get in touch with the head of that department, and you know, oh, I'm doing this. We have meeting between the professors regularly to keep in touch, like, okay, oh, you're doing this, maybe you might be interested in joining this research project, etc. But it's and also I have to say, sometimes the students are reluctant to it. Like, there's, okay, you are doing type design, you've done this wonderful specimen, you want to take a picture of it, and why don't you do it? I don't know how to do. Okay, you have a door and a wall, and there is a master in photography with people who can do it. And maybe those people want to do a photo book, and they have a few pages of text to compose. Maybe you could exchange some stuff, and sometimes we have to repeat it. It does not, like, I don't know how to do against that, but it does not come naturally. I don't know if it's the same with your
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, it's mainly at ECAL, it's mainly like keeping contact with each other to know what is going on.
So are these meetings between staff members initiated, or they formal, or it's just meeting over lunch or
it's
something?
Just,
because you know
sitting
somebody?
for a coffee at the cafeteria. Yeah. And then yeah, what's up in your department?
Thank you.
And there are also formal stuff regularly, but most of the work is done in the informal network, let's say.
Other questions? Okay, I guess we are done. Thank you, Matthieu.